Good morning, students. So today we are again revising our very important topic, and that is cofactors. Student, I have already discussed with you that proteins, they are the biomacromolecules because we find these proteins in acid insoluble food, and all the molecules, biomolecules which are found in acid insoluble pool, they have their molecular weight that is greater than 10,000 Daltons. You know that all proteins, they consist of so many polypeptide chains, and these polypeptide chains, they consist of amino acids which joined with each other end to end in a chain like fashion and having so many peptide linkages between them. I have already discussed that all the protein structures, they do not behave as enzyme. Proteins in their special structure, that is the tertiary structures, they behave as enzymes. So it is rightly said that all enzymes, they are proteins in nature, but all proteins, they are not enzyme. The proteins, when they are in their tertiary structure, then only they behave as enzyme. We have studied the tertiary structure very well, that in the tertiary structure of proteins, there are so many folds, pockets present, and all of these pockets or folds which are present in this structure, these acts as the active site. So active site is that place where the substrate has to be bind, and after this the enzyme catalyze the chemical reaction. So student must remember the body of an enzyme, it consists of two parts. The first part is a protein part, which is known as apoenzyme, and the second part, it is known as the non-protein part. So every enzyme has an active site where the substrate has to bind. So here I am going to tell you about the non-protein part, which are known as cofactors. Student, we have three kind of cofactors. These are prosthetic groups, coenzymes, and metal ions. So today I am going to tell you in detail about all of these cofactors and what kind of role they play in the catalytic activity of an enzyme. This flowchart is very much visible to you. There are so many inorganic ions that play an important role in the catalytic activity of the enzymes. So these ions may be magnesium ions, selenium ions, iron, or you can say ferrous ions, ferric ion, then cuprous ions, cupric ions, then magnesium ion, molybdenum ions, and nickel ions. Here you can see the enlarged view of the holoenzyme unit, which consists of a protein part which is known as apoenzyme. And here at the active site, near to the active site, cofactor is present. And coenzymes, they may be present. So these coenzymes, which are the type of a cofactor, they are increasing the efficiency of this region that is known as active region, so that the substrate, it can easily bind with the enzymes and do the catalytic activity. Yes, student, types of cofactors here. We have two types of cofactors, essential ions or coenzymes. So these essential ions may be the activator ions, and whenever these activator ions, they bind with the enzyme protein part, that is apoenzyme, they always bind with the apoenzyme loosely. And another category is of the metal ions. So these metal ions, they are also binded with the protein part of the apoenzyme, but they bind tightly with that apoenzyme. So such enzymes which have metal ions attached with them, which increase their catalytic activity, they are known as the metalloenzymes. Okay, student, among the coenzymes, we have a co-substrate, which are loosely bound with the apoenzyme part or the protein part. And other are the prosthetic groups. These are tightly bound with the apoenzyme part. Yes, student, now we will study about prosthetic group in detail. So what are these prosthetic groups? These prosthetic groups are actually the organic compounds. And these organic compounds, they are bound with the apoenzyme part or the protein part, but they are tightly bound with the apoenzyme part. For example, if we are studying the reaction of decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, You know that whenever hydrogen peroxide it undergoes a decomposition, it always produces water and oxygen. And this reaction is catalyzed by two enzymes, that is peroxidase and catalase. So here both of these enzymes, peroxidase and catalase, they use heme as prosthetic group. And this heme is the part of the active site of the enzyme, which increases the efficiency of the enzyme, and it allows the substrate to tightly bound with the enzyme. So such an important role is played by this prosthetic group. The diagram is very much visible to you. You can see here the protein part of the enzyme, and this is the prosthetic group, where in reaction of decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, it is heme, and it is located itself on the active site, and in this way the efficiency of the active site increases and the substrate is tightly bound with this, and in this way the catalytic activity also increases. Yes, student, the second type is known as the coenzymes. So these coenzymes, they are again organic compounds, but their association with the protein part or the apoenzyme, it is a transient. That means it binds with the apoenzyme as long as the apoenzyme, or you can say the enzyme, is involved in catalytic activity. So whenever the enzyme has done its catalysis, then later on these organic compounds, which are known as coenzymes, they get separated from the active site of the enzyme. So there are a different type of coenzymes which serve as cofactors in a number of different enzyme catalyzed reactions. So here I am going to give you the example of a nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, that is NAD, and nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, that is NADP. Both of these, they contain vitamin niacin for their activity. As we have studied, the essential chemical components of many coenzymes, they are vitamins. So here both of these coenzymes, that is NAD and NADP, they contain vitamin niacin for their catalytic activity. Student, here the diagram is visible to you. You can see the apoenzyme, it becomes active by binding the coenzyme or cofactor to the enzyme. And in the second case, what you see, when this substrate, it binds with the enzyme part, which also contains the coenzyme too. So holoenzyme is formed. So holoenzyme is formed when associated cofactor or coenzyme, it binds with the enzyme's active site. Yes, student. The third type of the cofactors, they are the metal ions. So there are a number of enzymes which require metal ions for their activity. And what is the job that is done by these metal ions? These metal ions, they generally form the coordination bonds with the side chains at the active sites. And at the same time, they also form one or more coordination bonds with the substrate too. So here you have heard the name of one enzyme, digestive enzyme, that is carboxypeptidase. And this enzyme, it requires zinc, which act as a cofactor here and increase the efficiency of this enzyme. Yes, student, one very important thing I want to remind you, that catalytic activity is lost when the cofactor is removed from the enzyme. So this shows that this cofactor, it plays a crucial role in the catalytic activity of the enzyme. Yes, student, here I have given the slide that is related with certain ions that can be used by these enzymes. So this group of enzymes are known as the metalloenzymes, which use the metal ions for their functioning. And these metal ions may be iron, it may be ferric ion, ferrous ion, cuprous ion, cupric ions, manganese ion, or cobalt ions. So here ionic interactions, it takes place with the enzyme bound metal and a substrate, and this can help orient the substrate for the reaction or stabilize. Yes, student, the another flowchart is of metal ion catalysis. So here I am going to tell you that metal ions, they can be used in a variety of ways by the enzymes. So binding and orientation of the substrate. So by forming strong ionic interaction with the substrate, it can be precisely oriented, especially strong, because when water is excluded from the active site, then the dielectric constant, it becomes low. Second one is redox reactions. So ions that have more than one possible charge state, they can lose or gain electrons during the reaction. And this avoids unstable charge intermediates. And third one is shielding and stabilizing negative charges. So if the charge on the substrate or a transition metal or a state, its a transition state is an integral part of the reaction. The enzyme can form strong ionic interactions with the charge which is stabilized. Yes, student, here a very small topic that is given in your chapter. Have a look over this topic, the dynamic state of the body constituent. What this topic tells us, as we have read the full chapter, so what we conclude from this chapter, that all living organisms, whether it may be a bacteria, plant cell or animal cell, all of these, they are made up of biomolecules. Thousands of biomolecules, they form the body of the bacterial cell, plant cell or animal cells. And what we learned from this chapter, that all of these biomolecules, majority of these biomolecules, they are organic in nature. One thing I want to tell you here, that these biomolecules, they have a characteristic turnover. Turnover means all of these biomolecules, they constantly changed into some other biomolecules. This means if during certain biochemical reactions, certain products are formed, then these products, they later act as reactant for some other biochemical reactions. So in this way, the interconvertible nature of biomolecules is seen by us in any of the plant or animal species. Okay, student, the breaking and making, it is done with the help of certain chemical reactions. And these chemical reactions, they always takes place in the living organisms. And these chemical reactions, they are collectively known as metabolism. You have learned in your lower classes that metabolic reactions, they are of two types. These may be anabolic reactions or catabolic reactions. So what we have learned, that majority of these metabolic reactions, they cannot happen in isolation. These chemical reactions, they are always linked with each other. That means the reactant of one reaction later becomes the product of one reaction later becomes the reactant of the other reaction, student. So in this way, all of these reactions, they are the linked reactions. So here, what the metabolites, these metabolites, as they are formed by these linked reactions, so many metabolic pathways, they are involved in the formation of these metabolites or the breakdown of these metabolites. So all of these metabolites or their flow, which takes place through metabolic pathway, it always happens in a specific direction and at a specific rate or a definite rate. Yes, student, this metabolic flow is actually called the dynamic state of the body constituents. So these metabolic reactions, they cannot happen at its own. All of these metabolic reactions, they are catalyzed by certain catalysts. And you know that these catalysts in a living system are known as the biocatalyst or the enzymes. So these enzymes, they are catalyzing different type of metabolic reactions. It may be anabolic, it may be catabolic type of reactions that are occurring in the body of a living system. So that's why these reactions, they complete in a specific time interval. If enzymes are not involved, then the duration of completion of these reactions is very much. Yes, student, our next topic is metabolic basis for living. So here I am going to tell you that we know that so many metabolic reactions, they are occurring in the living system. And all of these metabolic reactions, they have some metabolic path. So whenever these reactions, they proceed, sometimes what happen, a complex molecule is formed. And that complex molecule, it is formed by the joining of some simplest molecules. This means such type of metabolic reactions, they are known as the anabolic reactions. So this complex molecule, it is formed by the consumption of large amount of energy. So it stores large amount of energy inside. And One example of such type of anabolic reaction is that so many acetic acid molecules they join together and form a complex molecule that is known as cholesterol. There may be some other type of metabolic pathways in which the bigger molecules or the macromolecules are complex molecules. They break and later smaller units they are obtained from them. So what happened? These reactions takes place by degradation. So that's why they are known as catabolic reaction. As during these reactions, so many bonds that are present between these bigger macromolecules they break, and that's why simple molecules they are formed. So during the breakdown of these bonds, large amount of energy is released, and this energy is stored by the energy storing units that are present in your body, and these are the ATPs. Student, here I want to give the example of conversion of a glucose into lactic acid in the skeletal muscles. So this lactic acid, its formation takes place in less quantity of oxygen when the breakdown of the glucose takes place. And this is a metabolic pathway which consists of 10 steps, and so many enzymes they are involved in this metabolic pathway. Yes, student, here I have written 10 metabolic steps are there in glycolysis. And you know that the end product of this glycolysis is pyruvic acid or pyruvate, which is a 3-carbon compound. And the net gain of ATP during this glycolysis, it is 2 ATPs. Okay, student, as I have told you, during the catabolic reaction, large amount of energy is released. We have learned the example of respiration, that here the breakdown of the glucose takes place, and as a result carbon dioxide and water is formed along with large amount of energy. So this energy it is released in the form of different steps, and it is later stored by the energy rich molecules which are known as ATPs or NADPs. So all of these energy rich molecules they store this energy in their chemical bonds. That's why ATP they are known as the energy currency of the cell. Yes, student, we are coming on our next topic, which is the last topic of this chapter, and that is the living state. So you know that, student, that every living organism, it consists of 10 to thousands of biomolecules. And all of these molecules, they are collectively known as the metabolites. And what is the important thing of a biological system? It is that all living organisms, they exist in a steady state, and which is characterized by the concentration of each of these biomolecules. So these biomolecules, they are in the form of a metabolic flux. Yes, so any chemical or physical process, you know that always when proceed, it reaches the stage of equilibrium. And if I am saying that the living system, it always exists in the form of a steady state, then that means it is not the stage of equilibrium, it is a non-equilibrium stage. As we know from physics, that system which are at equilibrium stage, they cannot perform any work. That means the work done at equilibrium stage of any chemical or physical process, it is equal to 0. But that cannot afford to reach equilibrium in case of a living system, because the living system, it always exists in steady state, which is a non-equilibrium state. This means they always have to do work. They always avoid to reach the stage of equilibrium. Living system always remains in steady state. Yes, student, here I want to tell you that this living process, they always do a constant effort to prevent them falling into the equilibrium, because you know that at the equilibrium stage the net work done is equal to 0, and if all the metabolic activities are work done in a living system it becomes 0, then this means the whole living organism shattered, it totally degenerates. So in order to avoid the equilibrium stage, the living system has to work continuously so that they prevent itself to fall into the equilibrium stage and remain in the steady state. So how the living system they achieve this? To achieve this, they require high energy input. And this high energy input is possible only through the metabolic reactions that are occurring in the body of the living system. So this metabolism, it provides mechanism for the production of the energy. Hence the living state and the metabolism, they are synonymous. Without metabolism, there cannot be a living state. This means that whenever the metabolic reactions, they keep on occurring in the living system remains in a alive state. So that's why all the biochemical reactions, they never reach the stage of equilibrium. They always remain in the steady state. So this completes our chapter biomolecule, students. I am quite hopeful that the concept is clearer to you. So read the chapter carefully, go through the NCERT questions and revise the whole topics. So after this, we will discuss the NCERT questions. So that's all in today's lecture, student. Have a nice day.